Fear does not disappear before action. Fear fades because of action. So in Feel the Fear and Do It Anyways by Susan Jeffers, really good book, breaks down the frameworks of how to actually get over fear, what fear really is, and understanding that fear is normal. It's something that we all feel, but having a really deep understanding of the levels of fears is really important. So we're going to get into the frameworks of what fear is, how to identify it, how to get deeper so that we can actually recognize what it is that we're truly afraid of, how to overcome that, and then what to do with it all, and how to actually apply it to your life. So great book by Susan Jeffers. So the first part here is really the idea that fear is normal. We all experience it. Uncertainty, change, anything that's new, like we want to be comfortable. Like we're always going backwards from our survival mechanism, which is to survive and thrive, right? So the reality is that we all, any time that there's any kind of change, anything that's unknown, we always over anticipate pessimism and something that could go wrong over something that could go right. And that's a normal thing that we all experience. But the trick is to understand that we're not going to die. Like it's not so serious that if we do the thing that we're afraid of in today's day and age, we don't have to be afraid of things like posting content. We don't have to be afraid of things like public speaking. We don't have to be afraid of things like taking a new job or asking for a raise. We're not going to end up outcasted by the tribe and unable to survive. So understanding the actual scope of fear is the first step, but I want to go and talk about the 3 levels of fear, because every single fear could be one of these 3 levels. So the deeper level we'll get to in a second, because once you recognize it, then you'll realize that you really don't have to be afraid of anything. So by the way, I hope you don't mind, I'm just waiting for the sauna to warm up. Beautiful view over Montenegro here. Figured now is a great time to talk about fear. So there's 3 levels of fear. The first level is what we call like circumstance fear, right? So people that are afraid might be afraid of something circumstantial happening, like let's say losing a job, or a stock market crash, or one of their partners not accepting a decision that they're making. So that's like a fear of circumstance. So that's level 1 fear. A level 2 fear is an ego fear. So the idea of being helpless, or feeling alone, or that people will judge you. So those are all level 2 fears, right? So the third level fear, and this is what all fears ultimately actually distill into, is a fear that I can't handle whatever life will bring to me. So if you flip that and then you felt as though I can handle absolutely anything that life throws my way, then what would you be left to be afraid of? Or what would be left to be afraid of? Literally nothing, because you would know that you can handle it. So even just as a quick takeaway or quick hack to rewire your thinking is to build up the confidence in yourself to know that, you know what, every single thing I've ever been afraid of in my life, up until this point, I've handled it. Like I'm still here, So it's like you've been afraid that, I can't pay rent at the end of the month. I'm afraid that I can't make payroll. I'm afraid that if I go on this trip, it'll be disastrous. Like, what if I get sick? Or what if all these fears, right? And it's just like, yeah, well, if those things happen, I can handle it. Like if I've been afraid in the past and I've handled it, I'm here today. You've probably forgotten most of the things that you've ever been afraid of and overcome. So it's like at some point you are going to get over this thing. You are going to handle it. So if you just like rewire your brain into understanding that you have the capacity inside of you to handle whatever comes next, no matter what you're afraid of, then what do you have to be afraid of? So after that, understanding that there's really a deeper fear to everything, and then building that self-trust. Let's talk about actually building that self-trust. So I kind of alluded to it. So it's always going to be action. So this actually isn't really talked about too much in the book, but I want to call back to Alfred Adler and Albert Ellis. So they talk about fear a lot, and they talk about goal-oriented behaviors. And it's this idea that if you have a belief, like if you believe that you can't handle it, that's an irrational belief. So what's an irrational belief? An irrational belief is anything that stops you from getting what you want and behaving effectively. But in a belief, if you can imagine, think of a belief as like a big bucket. In that bucket, there's three things that make up beliefs. There's thoughts, there's feelings, and then there's actions. So you can change your beliefs in one of three ways. So again, not really in the book, but I think it's worth talking about really quickly. So the quickest way to change your beliefs is changing your thoughts, changing your feelings, or changing your actions. Changing your feelings can be tough. There's frameworks for that. Letting Go by David Hawkins is really strong. But I think, at least for me, I'm very analytical. So if you're more type A, this will probably resonate with you as well. But changing your thoughts and changing your feelings is easiest by changing your actions. So when you change your actions, then you change the way that you think about something, and then you change the way that you feel about that thing. And then ultimately, when you change those three sub buckets, then you change that main bucket of belief. So that's the quickest way to actually get out of this. So Susan Jeffers talks about this as well. So basically, action cures all fears. So avoidance makes fear bigger, and action gives you proof that you can survive discomfort, right? So you have to convince yourself. It's not just, you're your own worst critic. If you can convince yourself, then you can actually change your beliefs around it, and then you can get over that fear. So you have to understand that no decision is wasted, right? Every choice gives you either the result you wanted or a lesson that you needed, right? So when you understand that if you have a goal or something you want to do and you're afraid to do it, there's always a lesson to be learned. So even if you fail at that thing, you're not really failing because you yourself are becoming a product of something greater, right? So just another way to reframe taking actions, that it's never wasted. After that, we want to think about the way that we move from pain to power. So we want to replace words, even our self-talk. So Bruce Lee talks about this. It's like never even make a self-deprecating joke, because your nervous system doesn't understand the difference between a joke or sarcasm and reality. And it might sound kind of woo-woo, but it's self-identity. This is like the most important thing. So replace the certain words in your acumen and your daily talk, whether it's talk with other people or talk with yourself. I'll give you an example. Replace I can't and I have to what if and with I choose. An example of this, it's basically thinking of agency, pain to power. So I can't do this thing. I won't do this thing, right? So that gives you the power over it. If I say I'm gonna go for a dog walk, I'm telling people I'm in control, that I have agency. I'm telling myself that I'm in control. Hey, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm taking my dog for a walk. That's what I'm doing. What most people will say or think is, I have to take the dog for a walk. I have to do this thing. But we don't have to do anything. Like, I made the decision to get a dog. I'm making the decision to take care of it because I love it. And I am going to take it for a walk, right? It's as simple as that. So we want to replace the acumen that we use in our daily language with things that give us power, right? So we don't want to cast our power away to circumstances or others. Taking that agency, and even in just our own mind, is going to absolutely change the way that we think about power. After that, Susan talks about how avoidance shrinks your life. So every time fear makes the decision, your world gets smaller. When you cast that power to other things, you are becoming less powerful, and that is going to make you more fearful. And there's the analogy of, a lion in the Serengeti. A lion's not afraid of anything. So if it hears like a twig snap in the forest or the jungle, it's not going to be too concerned about it. Whereas like an ant, it's going to be scared of everything, right? So when you have that power, then you're able to take that agency in that frame and do anything with it. So saying yes expands your life, your growth, your love, career, creativity, and meaning usually lives on the other side of that discomfort. So you want to think about, when you're making decisions, what are you solving for? Are you solving for comfort, or are you solving for growth? If you want to become a bigger, more powerful person with less fear, then you want to make decisions out of what's going to get you closer to your goal, not what's going to make you most comfortable. Comfort will never allow you to grow. After that, we have positive thinking is discipline. So it's not pretending that life is easy. It's training your mind to focus on capability instead of helplessness. I think the most powerful thing for me is the pain to power framework. deciding to actually take action to change your beliefs about your fear, and then actually understanding that you can handle it. So those 3 frameworks, that I can handle it, and then the 2 I just mentioned, are by far the most important and powerful to the book. And if you haven't read it already, definitely give it a read. And I think that you'll definitely see, as you change your language around agency and taking that vocabulary from pain to power, you'll definitely get a lot more control in your life, and you'll certainly feel a lot less fearful. So hope that helped, and looking forward to seeing you in the next video.